Here we are. Welcome to episode 19 of I almost said of the music runs through it, but it's actually the Soul's Kitchen podcast with Emma Chevarie of Music Runs Through It, music blog. Welcome, Emma.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate your time.
I'm very happy to be here.
So
Always glad to talk.
so as you know, I'm having conversations with people who are living their soul's desire or purpose. And of course, you came to mind with your music blog, Music Runs Through It. So why don't you take us back to how you got started? How is this your heart's desire, I guess, as you had said? Yeah.
Well, I'd say it's not been a straight line, and I think most people would probably say that. But so live music's always been kind of a part of my life. Like I grew up with, my family was the church choir, and I was in the choir, so we grew up singing together. And French Acadian background, so kitchen parties were a big thing, and everybody just always sang, like you just sang together, and I always liked it. And then as I grew up and sort of left home and I was out on my own, I guess I got more drawn in, and I realized that community gathers around singing, around it's for celebration, it's for funerals, it's for music comes out for everything,
for the shower.
Shower, like just everything. You have music included, and I realized that it was just really important to me. And then a group of friends started a band, Jimmy Deliverance and Mountain Chicken, that some people might remember. They were like sort of a house band down at Bugaboo. And they were playing, and then they asked for some help booking a few gigs, like to get out of town. So then I started doing that, and I was going to all their shows, and I just loved the experience of live music. And with that band, it was the first time, it was sort of like, it was a bar like Bugaboo, for anybody from Fredericton who remembers that. It was just sort of like, it was an old-fashioned sort of tavern feeling place, and almost looked scary from the outside, and you're sort of sketchy, but then you went in, and I met so many interesting people who came in to share that music, and then I made a lot of friends through that band. And so it just sort of grew from there, and I felt like I saw, like, when your day is hard and you're going through a hard time, or and you could go in there, and especially with that band, I saw it happen so often, where people would sort of just let their hair down, and it was like leave their worries outside the door and just go have some fun, connect with some people, have some laughs, dance and move. Like the music vibrates you, the moving on the dance floor. There was just so much, I don't know, healing sounds like a big word, but there was just medicine in it for everybody. Like we all needed that escape, or that, just sort of like park things, be in this moment, share this experience with people. So I guess that's why I got really connected to the live music experience. And so that was, fast forward, I went to work for Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival. I was lucky enough to be the admin person in the office for two and a half festivals, I guess. And that sparked another interest just in what it could do for a city, for community, like revolving around music. But there was so much more than just the music. I made a lot of my friends. I found people that shared common interests, and a desire to better the world. And for a time I thought it seemed frivolous in a way, like on some level, but I kept getting drawn into it more and more. And so I leaned into it. And in 2012, I set up the website, Music Runs Through It, so that I could report, or just list basically, and live music that was happening in the city. And that came about because the Here magazine was a newspaper, you probably remember, like a local, and you could list events and local events. And then that was gone. there sort of wasn't a central place for anybody to know where
What was
music.
going on? Yeah.
Yeah, and I would hear comments from a lot of people saying, "Well, there's never anything going on in this city," or "Maybe if I'd known, I'd have gone." But and
Mm,
so I thought, okay, I got to do something about that. I got to fill this,
mhm.
and that's really how the website came. And I picked a name, and like the river runs through the province,
Yes.
the city. It was like, and the music runs through all of us.
Mhm.
So I went with that name. It's a little bit long, but I love it,
No,
and
it's a
I
good
still
name.
resonate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a good name.
that
And music does. I remember, because there's a lot of music in this town. We're in Fredericton, New Brunswick. For anyone who might be watching from another place, you never know.
yeah,
And there was a dip for a while where there wasn't much music in this town.
yeah,
So I think you came along at a great time. I mean, there was stuff happening, but you're right. Nobody really knew. Now it seems
yeah,
like it's exploded.
yeah.
So, so you
Unfortunately,
started writing. Yeah, I remember you were writing, like, would you call it a blog? I guess music runs
yeah,
through a blog about
yeah.
music that was happening. And so, what happened from there? I think you became a column on the CBC radio.
Yeah, from
And
there, I had opportunities that I didn't expect to have. So once I started reporting on the live music scene, then
right,
I approached the CBC, and
you approached them.
I
Okay,
did
that's
information
cool.
warning. Yeah, that was bold, and that was like on a
Oh,
dare almost from somebody.
good for
And
you. I just got goosebumps. Like, honestly,
yeah, and it was
wow.
like somebody said, like, no, more people need to know, so you should go talk to them. So I approached them and said, can we talk about the live music that happens? And I thought it would be a one-time thing, and it ended up being a regular. For a while I was every 2 weeks, and now we go sort of on, but it's been since 2012. And
Wow.
from there, yeah, I started with Fredericton Tourism as well, helping them, like submitting. I was a guest blogger for them on the
Mhm.
live music events, especially for festivals. So I would usually try to capture, do a lead up to, sort of in layman's terms, sort of like what I was excited about and what I might recommend and that kind of thing. So I submitted with the Fredericton Tourism. So I made great friends and great connections through the city. And then I was promoting and presenting shows on my own even before Music Runs Through It, the name. And that had come about when a friend of mine, Jamie Steele in St. Andrews, New Brunswick, he had sort of a series that he was doing through the province, and he needed a person in Fredericton to run the show for
Okay.
him. So I was doing the shows at Charlotte Street Art Center for him, like on his behalf. I
Okay.
was just a Fredericton person, and I got meeting people. And then after they would go away and they would tell their friends, and sort of that. So traveling musicians coming through Fredericton or wanting to do something started reaching out. So the first show I did on my own, I presented Rose Cousins at
Mm.
Doodle's Cafe in the basement of Charlotte Street Art Center back in 2008. So she was just getting started.
Yes.
And we did a sold out show, 60 people, and I was thrilled. I loved the experience of setting the stage and making the space for everyone to gather. That was great. So anyway, from there it just sort of has grown. So I present and work with people who are from Fredericton that want to do shows. Like I've worked with Sleepy Driver,
Mm.
the Chantrells, like all that. And then I've never had a venue of my own, so it's been partnerships with everyone. So
Right.
my most regular series I established at Corked Wine Bar, which used to be
I
down in
remember
Regent
that.
Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we did 5 years together, and it was a minimum of one show a month. And it was
Amazing.
a sweet jazz bar sort of feel
Yes.
to it,
Yeah.
and we could fit 50 people in, and we had all kinds of people come through there. It was wonderful. Local, traveling,
Yes.
Alfie Zappacosta was
Yeah.
in that space.
Yeah.
Steve Foltz was in that space. So we had
Right.
some really great artists. And yeah, it's just sort of like it just keeps going. And then there's more opportunities. And so there's more people that I connect with. And I was on the board with Music New Brunswick for
Okay.
a few years, and always interested in how I can support and encourage more
Mm.
live music and working with the artists. Like, how can we help them to develop and these emerging artists? So it's been interesting. And then over one of the venues that I partnered with after the Cork Wine Bar closed was the Tipsy Muse Cafe,
Mhm.
and that was on Regent Street.
Mhm.
And Rob and Krista were the owners there, and
Right.
so I used their space, and we partnered, and I promoted and presented shows together with them, and we
Mhm.
actually did the Cold Snap series together, and that was like 3 years ago, I think now.
Mhm.
We had Joel Plaskett and Misha Bruger Gosman, and it went really well. And that was sort of like a bigger event where
Right.
we applied for a grant, and we
Mm.
delivered that throughout the city. We used Wilmot United Church, Charlotte Street Arts Center, and the Muse. So we used like three
Okay.
different stages, and
Wow.
yeah, it was really cool. And then I really liked working with them, and they liked working with me.
Mhm.
When they sold the Muse in 2024, we started talking about what if we do this together, because the music was something with their venue that they
Mhm.
hated to see end. Like, they had
Right.
liked,
That part
working
of
with
it.
the artist. Yeah.
Yes.
So they wanted to keep doing it, and they had ideas. So we sort of just evolved Music Runs Through It into the MRTI agency,
Right. Yes.
and so that we could do a few more things. And now there's three of us. So yeah, and in the last year we've done lots of new things. So we're now into production. We produced Kenny and Dolly's Christmas tribute show.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we ran that the first year. We did two shows at the Playhouse, two sold out shows
Mhm.
at the Fredericton Soft Cedar Theater.
Yeah.
And so that featured Kylie Fox and
Mhm.
Josh Bravner. So it's great to have local artists and give them an opportunity. December was sort of a low time for,
Mhm.
original touring, that kind of thing. So,
Who wrote that? Did you guys write that show too, or like who?
well, it's the album, like,
It
so
was the
it's
whole you just did the whole
it's
album. I see.
yeah,
Okay, the
the
songs.
whole
Okay.
Christmas tribute album. And so it was Kylie's idea. She wanted to pay
Wow.
tribute to Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
So she approached us. So it was, all of us together that made it happen, and pretty proud of it. So, because last year we grew it into 5 shows, and we traveled it
I
like
was
the
gonna say
Miramichi, and
traveled. Yeah. That's
yeah.
amazing.
So, and we get
So
to employ 7 local musicians to do
right,
that show,
do
right?
that.
And then all of the theaters, and sort of like all the
Right.
fallout of that. And we had 3 of the 5 shows sell out last year. So,
Wow.
and the other 2 were really close to sold out. But, so
Yeah.
we're proud of what we've been able to create. And live music, again, it's memory building. It's, Kenny and Dolly is a lot of family tradition.
This is
It's
true. Yeah.
nostalgia. We're bringing that in. Original music, when you get to introduce people to new stuff, you're just making memories. You're changing the brain a little bit, right? Like, for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah.
But I mean, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking it's all about relationships too, isn't it? Like I'm listening to you
Yeah.
building those relationships over time, making friendships, but also like the creativity of the music, and what it's built because you guys are a household name now. I think well both music runs through it and the MRTI agency. So
Mhm.
and I know that you had said it's like a heart project for you
It
and I
definitely.
love that. So it's like, and I mean, I didn't know that you were on you work for Harvest Music Festival. So it's not just the blog, but you've made music into your life, really.
Yeah, I've
And
tried to build it into all parts of my life,
that's
and
amazing that you've done that.
yeah,
And do you
and I
play an
continue.
instrument or no?
No,
No. So
I do
this
not.
is so you've made music your life. Like this is quite fascinating, and without really, but I think it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just love what it can do for us, and I guess I sing whenever I get a chance.
Yeah.
Last night I went to choir at the
Oh
Playhouse,
yes. Yeah.
and that's like, "Never stop singing" is sort of their motto, and they just
Right.
bridge and they lead people through songs, and it was totally fun. 700 people at the Playhouse all singing
Oh,
along to Queen songs. That
that's
was their
amazing.
theme this time
Yeah,
around.
I
Yeah,
heard. I unfortunately had to work, but I wanted to go.
yeah.
But anyway, so what's
And
what's coming up? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say in Fredericton, they've got the Fredericton Pub Choir. So those
Yes.
people who, yeah, if you're looking for an opportunity to go sing, 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 just go sing along, and they'll lead you through it. They'll give you the lyrics. It's a good experience.
So
Like
they
I
still
said,
do that once a month, do they? The
yeah,
Fredericton Pub Choir,
we're at the Roundhouse,
the
Pickeroons
Roundhouse,
Roundhouse.
Pick Yeah, what another great location for music. Do you think that there'll be a location for music in the future?
I think so. They seem to be, they're open to a lot of different ideas and concepts, and they include music in a lot of their celebrations that happen over
Right.
there. So,
Yeah. So what's
and
coming up, Emma? Like in the future, this is going to be posted on March 26th. So is there anything for like
oh,
April, or what should we be looking out for that
always,
the
there's always
MRTI
more.
agency will? Huh?
There's always more.
Yeah.
We've got the blues series. I'm just trying to think, will it be over? No, in April there'll be one more show. So we run
Okay.
a blues series at Dolan's Pub once a month for the winter. So we did
Right.
January, February, March, and April. So
Okay.
Charlie Ayport will be coming up at Dolan's in April.
Okay.
Alfie Zapracosta's coming back to town. So
Mm-hmm.
we're presenting him at Wilzer's room up at the
Okay. Right
and
on. Is
we
he in
have Devin
April?
Cuddy. That's in April, yeah. Devin Cuddy is also coming in April, and he'll be up at Wilzer's room. And Josh Brabner
Mm-hmm.
be opening up for him. So yeah, just some of the things. Kelly Loader is coming in June 7th. And they are from Newfoundland, and there's a lot of people that might recognize them. They were on Canada's Got Talent and came in second, and
Okay.
they were the first person to actually perform one of their own songs, like not a
Right.
cover. Yeah, so they've had a great career. They played at the Olympics. They played Ottawa's big Canada Day festivals, and
Mm-hmm.
just nominated for 3 ECMAs, I think, this year, East Coast Music Awards.
Nice.
So yeah, we're lucky to have them. In May, we're doing a Bob Dylan tribute
Oh,
at
really? Where's that
Dolan.
happening?
Yeah, that's at Dolan's
At
on May
Dolan's? Okay.
29th. And Brent Mason is coming from St. John. He and Jessica Ray, people might be
Okay.
familiar with those
Yes.
names. They've been doing this Bob Dylan tribute. This is their 15th annual. And so they're
Wow.
bringing it to Fredericton. So, and they're going to include some Fredericton locals. So Peter Hicks and Sleepy Driver is going to
Right.
be performing. Josh Bravner will be there. And Pretty Western. They'll be there
Okay.
from St. John. And there's one more from Fredericton. And I'm drawing a blank. But
That's
anyway,
okay. I'll
it's all Bob
include
Dylan. Yeah.
people will be able to find you. Like, I guess I have a couple more questions for you. One is, you're involving other cities, but are you helping out in other cities? I know they're sort of coming here, but and then your Kenny and Dolly show traveled, but is there more involvement with more New Brunswick or Nova Scotia places, or?
Yeah, we're trying to expand for sure.
Okay.
And we've started with a relationship. Again, it's all
Mhm.
relationships and
Mhm.
partnerships. So in St. John, we have the Water Street Dinner Theater is a
Okay.
venue. Yeah, they're upstairs from Steamer's Lobster across
Nice.
from the Container Village, right down on the waterfront. And yeah, the owner there, Roy, is wonderful to work with. So we brought the blues series. This is our third run going through that space as well. So when we present them in Fredericton on Wednesday night, we take them
Mhm.
Saturday night to St. John, and
Okay.
we go Thursday and Friday for them, or we try to get them into different locations. So they've gone to the Miramichi or to St. Andrews, like in the in
Mhm.
between days. And so it gives these artists like a 4-day run, which is
Right.
great.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. 'Cause I
So
remember back in the day, and I say back in the day, I don't know when that would be, but I'm gonna say, like, there was a time. I'm really bad
mhm.
with timelines. There wasn't a lot of music coming through Fredericton. I think there was a scene quite a few years ago, and then it was, like, Halifax right to Quebec.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this because I'm thinking of the provinces, like the planes flying over the province. And then, sometimes maybe there might be someone was looking. I remember when I had my cafe, it just happened by accident. Someone called and said, "Would you consider having a band?" And I thought, "Oh, okay, sure." And then it was just like, once somebody came, then someone else heard about it and, "Oh, you're a venue?" It was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, I guess so."
Yeah.
So, and I know how much work goes in behind the scenes because I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, but when people go to a show, you see the bums in the seats and it
Yeah.
looks like, "Oh, wow, great." But I can only imagine what must go in behind the
Yeah.
scenes to get that to happen.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of details to it. So which I think is where my strengths can come out.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
like sort of like I like
You
having
like
a
that.
plan for everything. So it's sort of like, I get a spreadsheet for every show and it's sort of like, okay, this is what we need to get done. Then this is a timeline we'll work with based on
That's
when the show is
amazing.
gonna happen. And yeah, it's definitely by accident, a lot of these things. And that's something actually with the website that I found has like all these things that have evolved and come out of it is that people find me. And
Mm.
so I get a lot of emails and requests like, can you help me understand where I could play in New Brunswick? And
Okay.
they want to make the stops through, but they don't
Right.
know where to start. And
Exactly.
with the website, I don't have now because it sort of got out of date, but I even had a tab, like a list of all
Mhm.
the venues in Fredericton that were presenting music,
Right.
which was really useful to those ones coming through town. And because at least they had a place to start and they could, approach people and look.
Mhm.
And so I find I do a lot of consultations now. And because I love to help everybody try to find their way
Yeah.
through. I can't present every show with everyone that comes through. But it is building that relationship and understanding what kind of a network, like, because if you come through, like we've got a place in Edmundston now that we can, give the contact information to
Oh, that's amazing. Because if the
over.
bands are driving, then well, and most of them would be. I mean, I
Yeah.
think not everyone's flying everywhere these days, but yeah, they would pass through. That's
And they
awesome.
were, yeah, so it's like building that network and the
Yes.
communications for everybody so that we all, because we're all better together, and that way it makes it attractive
Yeah.
attractive for people to come and to stop. Because if we want to see somebody, driving through, they're so close. Like I remember once, actually, this was early on, and people might be friends with or understand Steve Earle, Guitar Town and
Yeah.
Road. So Steve Earle's sister is also a singer
Okay.
songwriter. Her and her husband travel, and this was years ago. But I realized because I was following her, it's when sort of Facebook was coming up,
Mhm.
so we were seeing what people were doing more often. And I saw that she had a show in Nova Scotia and one in Quebec or in
Mm.
Ontario. And so just on a whim, I reached out and said, any chance you want to stop in Fredericton? And she replied and said,
Yep.
yes. And we
Awesome.
presented her at Gallery 78. And it
Oh.
was a beautiful space, her and her husband. And it was just a very memorable night. But it's sort of like there's opportunities that come up that you don't expect that you'll be able to work with certain artists.
Right, but also for
And
them too, because
yeah,
they wouldn't have a clue what's available
no.
around here. Yeah.
And what she said, we were just going to be, it was going to be a down night anyway. So why don't we
Why don't
stop
we
and play?
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's amazing.
Yeah. So there's
Wow,
lots of connections to be made and
lots of connections, yeah.
opportunities to be had. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite artists that you've worked with? Not that you wanna name favorites, but do you have any like that story that you just told, do you have another kind of memorable story?
Rose Cousins will always be special to me
Okay,
because of that first show, and she's just the best to work with.
right.
Um, yeah, Dave Gunning, and I could work with him on anything. He's from Nova Scotia.
Okay,
Everybody knows him. So a lot of singer-songwriters.
right.
Steve Coates is from
Yes.
California, but
Mhm,
he's originated from Halifax, so he's got a connection to
mhm.
the East Coast. So I've been able to work with him, which has been cool. Um, I'm sure there's others. There's so many.
So
I've
many.
Yeah, I've been just really lucky with,
Well,
yeah, I just lean into those singer-songwriters just because of the venues that I've had,
right,
and
a
I
little
felt
bit
like
of small, yeah, but
yeah,
lovely though, really nice to have that intimate setting.
yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah, there's been all kinds of people I've been introduced to that I didn't know I would like. Alfie Zappacosta, and I keep saying his name. He's coming up soon. I've
yeah,
been looking on his file. I guess that's why he's
yeah.
on my mind. We're pushing his tickets, but like he was on the soundtrack for
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing,
Yeah.
and and then I get to work with him. Like, and he's
Well, he
showing
does
me
a
what
great
he
show. He played 3 times at the Cedar Tree, actually.
exactly.
And
You
then
understand? Yeah.
yeah, he's good, and, he is really good. Like, he's a
Yes.
great singer, and his songs are really good songwriter. So
Yes.
whatever people may think about him, I don't know, because people get preconceived ideas. He
True.
puts on an amazing show.
He's captivating.
He
Like, yeah,
is, and
he was
he's got a
so
beautiful
he
voice.
was a surprise for me. And I probably presented him because you recommended him to me
Oh,
or something.
really? Oh,
I bet
maybe.
it was
Yeah.
something like that because I know he had my name and I couldn't remember
I
how,
might
but
have given him your name.
yeah, at the
'Cause he
time,
was after we closed, he was looking for, like, where he could play, and I probably gave him your name.
yeah.
But yeah,
So see again,
yeah.
it's all about relationships.
It's all about relationships, yeah.
All
So that's
these
awesome,
things.
Emma. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and I know it's, ever evolving, so
Yes.
maybe we'll,
No.
do this again another time, or people will follow you and find out where they
Yeah.
can, see some live music in and around here, and who knows where else.
Sure.
Um, if you don't mind, I have a couple questions that I ask everybody who comes on the show. I
Sure.
didn't tell you, but I usually mention them before we press record so you have time to think about them, and I didn't do that with you, so I hope you don't
Oh, you
mind.
really tested me. Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, they're good questions. So, well, one of them I think we might know the answer, we might not, but what makes you feel most alive?
Uh, yeah, live music and
Yeah,
dancing.
I
That's
figured. I
really
thought I was gonna say, I think we are, and that's, but some people have said something else, which is interesting because 'cause I'm thinking they're gonna say what I think they're gonna say. But
being at the
the
beach
other
next to the water would be the other thing.
the water, yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. I grew up
Um,
on the bay of Fun
maybe
Days.
maybe a Live by the Ocean concert one day?
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
that would be kind of
Yeah.
fun. Sunset,
Mhm.
who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, the other question, because of the Soul's Kitchen, like, my background is cooking, although I love other things too, so I'm gonna ask you, what's your favorite ingredient in life? It
Favorite
doesn't have to be
ingredient
food
in
item,
life?
it could be just whatever,
Oh,
a word.
good question. Um, hmm, spices, I guess. I like spice it up, change it
Spice it
up.
up, change it up.
Even something like scrambled eggs can be changed with a different spice in them.
Right.
So, yeah,
Okay,
I
awesome.
think I would say just basically, yeah, that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I thank you so much for talking to me today. It was really fun conversation,
totally fun.
and we'll be watching. We'll be
Okay,
watching and going to
musicrunsthroughit.com. Follow
perfect.
along. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
Bye.